Well, it is so lovely to have you on here for an interview and with your book, Barnaby Stump. I have got it here on my Kindle because I've got a physical copy, but thank you very much for sending over the book. It was such a fabulous read and I very much enjoyed it. Do you want to just kind of start off, before we kind of get properly to the questions, just kind of saying who you are and obviously maybe like what genre you write, maybe a little bit about the book as well?
Sure, of course. All right, let's dive right in. For those who don't know, my name is Ezra, full name Ezra Snukal. I'm a self-published indie author, currently in the process of writing my, I guess you could say, debut trilogy. Released my debut novel, Barnaby Stump and the Soul Thief. I would say now it's almost, a little over a year and a half ago, December 2024. And yeah, it's a YA, so young adult, I maybe also say upper middle grade novel, fantasy adventure. Basically Percy Jackson meets Pirates of the Caribbean. Takes place in a school located on a hidden island where juvenile delinquents, teenage rejects, and just about anyone who doesn't really kind of fit into the norm uh, is welcome and invited to go, where they learn a mix of traditional academics. I'll be blended in with a little pirate twist, as well as pirate and sailor related courses, everything from sword fighting to sailing to navigation and map reading, to pirate history, learning about the famous pirates of centuries ago, and just trying to get all an education, but at the same time, learning what it takes to survive in the world and you know build a hard shell to succeed.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, it's definitely that Pirates times Percy Jackson times. I definitely saw some awesome kind of bits in there where I was like, oh, that is very, very piratesy or very, very Percy Jackson feelingy, which was very awesome to see. Brilliant. So you kind of summarised the book a bit, which was amazing, and obviously said it's a young adult. Is there like a favourite out of context quote or anything in there that's fun?
Yeah, of course. I actually jotted down a couple in preparation, so
Oh,
I'd be
well, feel
ready.
free to tell them
Um,
all.
one of my favorite quotes that I had the privilege of writing actually is in the opening to the book. Barnaby's kind of internal monologue as he's starting his story and his tale. It kind of also summarizes. I'll actually say the quote first, but basically he goes on and says, uh, "You'll see everyone in this story has at least one run-in with death." He's kind of given this monologue of how you would think the life of a pirate is all great and all fun and so exciting, but he's very reluctant. He's not the usual YA protagonist that you would see who's like happy with what's going on, and I kind of
Mhm.
want to set him apart in that sense.
Yeah.
And this is just a sentence that really hits home and tries to. I think I also, as an author, was trying to get the readers, ready for what's to come. With this is a story where you're going to have some ups, you're going to have some exciting moments, but there's going to be loss, there's going to be twists. You're not going to know, what's in store, and you're just going to have to hang on for the ride to come.
Yeah, that is awesome. Is there like, I know you said you jotted down a few. Do you want to say the rest of them or?
Sure, sure, of
Yeah,
course, of course. Another one that came to mind was, we don't always choose the cards that fate deals us.
that's
I
such a
think
good
that
one.
really encompasses, uh, not maybe I don't want lessons is maybe not the right word, but
Mhm.
the ideologies that I'm trying to uh, portray in my story, which is that everyone kind of deserves second chances, but also life is just full of unpredictable events, and you could say, a religious person might say, man plans and God laughs.
Mhm.
So it's about navigating that sense of unpredictability and being able to be ready for what life throws at you. I think that's a lot of what they try to teach at the school at Lost Boys High. I think that's a lot what, with Barnaby and his expectations for how his life is supposed to go. And then obviously when things happen, he has to deal with, you know, the unpredictability of what's going on. I think it just really encaptures the what's going on in the story.
Yeah.
And I guess the last one would be what Blackbeard says to Barnaby in their first meeting. We, unlike the rest of this unforgiving world, give people a second chance. Likewise, really, encapsulates what's going on, and the message that, life is tough and the world can be unforgiving at times.
Yeah.
But it's always important to, give people a second chance and give people the benefit of the doubt. And if someone has a shot at redemption, that they should take it. And if you have a shot to give someone an opportunity to give someone redemption, then you should by all means do your best to give it.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing. It's such a good message as well for that one. Brilliant. And the next question here is, what was like the hardest part of the writing process? And I'm going to add this one into it. Well, kind of, was there an easy bit or was it all just a bit hard?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Questions. I would say, writing the first book of a series, you have to set a lot of world building down, which can is absolutely exciting, and part of the fun of doing it is creating this world and building this world. But
Yeah.
you also have the responsibility of knowing that whatever you kind of set up, it has to make sense, and it has to make sense in the books to come. So I guess you could say kind of creating the maybe the the rules of the world, and also the structure, making sure that it all makes sense for the readers, for myself, moving forward with the future books.
Yeah.
At times could be a bit challenging, exciting and fun, but a bit challenging. And I would also say, you know, every writer hates dealing with plot holes, and some plot holes can be
Yeah.
quick to solve, and some can literally be nagging you for weeks and weeks and weeks to come. And my wife would be asking me like, "Why are you in such a bad mood? Like, there's nothing really bad that's happening right now to you." And I'm just like, it's book related, hon. Like, I can't think about anything else right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's the life of being a writer and being an author, is you have to learn to deal with these things, and you have to build exercises, and prepare for those kinds of situations to come along.
Brilliant. That is, yeah, very good advice there. Kind of, and my next question here kind of just follows on a little bit, I guess. Kind of, what was your inspiration for kind of writing Barnaby Stump? Was there like a certain thing that kind of suddenly inspired you, or was it kind of like multiple things that you kind of drew together?
Great question. I think, as a child, I became a reader by falling in love with the books of like Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, all the classic YA
Yeah.
novels that I think we all grew up reading and enjoy reading, and become a part of this beautiful fan base. And while I still to this day will reread these books, time and time again, I couldn't help but feel like there was another story missing. Like I wanted something new. And I also, at the time, when I started writing, I was 16. So at the time, I'd also just fallen in love with the Pirates of the Caribbean
Yeah.
movies. And I was wondering, like, why there weren't so many pirate novels out there. I mean, you obviously have the classics, like, Treasure Island and Peter
Mhm.
Pan. There's also, I don't know if you've read, like, Peter and the Starcatchers, which is a
No,
great
I've not heard of
take
that one.
on
I
Peter
should have to.
Pan.
Yeah, add it
Yeah,
to my list.
it's a great series.
Yeah.
It's like a cool twist on the Peter Pan story.
Okay.
So there's definitely, there's also like Young Jack Sparrow, like novels related to the Pirates of the Caribbean world, but
Yeah.
nothing that really I felt like captured all of this together in the way that like Harry Potter takes on magic and wizardry, and Percy Jackson takes on the Greek and Roman mythology, and so I was like, this is such an amazing opportunity that's being missed. And at the time wanted to start writing, was thinking about what to start writing, and just jumped into it. And it took obviously a lot of revisions.
Yeah.
Obviously I only published it about a decade later. I know, but for many people it takes a lot shorter to write their first book, but for me it took a bit more. But yeah, that was really what the mission that I felt I had with writing this book, which was that I wanted to give another story. I wanted to add another story for kids growing up with those books to read, to find, to enjoy. And I feel confident that I've done so, and will hopefully continue to do so in the books to come.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, and I think definitely reading it, even as like an adult reader here, I love young adult books and kind of the Percy Jackson and obviously watching Pirates and all that. Like, it's my childhood as well. So reading this, I was like, oh, this is so cool. Just kind of read the little bits, and it felt very, very, very cool to read, and definitely had
Yeah,
missing out on
I
the
think
time.
also, I think my goal was two-part. Part A was, as I'm writing and I'm getting older. So on one hand, I wanted, like I said, write it for the young adults, write it for these kids growing up with these stories. But I also wanted it to be not too childish for, like you said, like an adult reader like us who grew up with these stories, and is in the mood for a trip down nostalgia lane, and wants to recapture that magic,
Mhm.
maybe not necessarily through rereading the book that they've read a dozen times, to provide another offering that captures that. And one of the most amazing things that I've heard from readers like yourself is that while you've really, some authors will just compare their books to specific, to other novels and other films, and not necessarily succeed or accomplish in in the comparison. And I've been told that mine does a pretty good job in that, and so.
Yeah.
That's what that just tells me that I've accomplished my job. That if someone tells me like, yeah, this made me feel like I was reading Percy Jackson way back when, then I can rest with my held up high.
Yeah, well, I can say it definitely does, because I'm currently rereading Percy
Thank
Jackson,
you.
so I was like,
Oh no way! Which one are you on right now?
I just finished number 3 while I was in Greece, so I'm starting
Wow.
number 4.
In
So
time for season 3, that's going to be
yes,
coming out this
exactly. I was like, we
fall.
have to do a reread. So I've just finished number 3. So I need to
Wow.
start number 4.
How does it compare to when you read it way back when? Did it hold
Oh, I
up?
don't really remember it way back when. This is the thing. My brother read them more than me. We had them all on the Kindle, and I did read them, but I wasn't much of an avid reader back then. Whereas now
Right.
I'm like very much an avid reader, and I was like, I have to like remind myself of these books because I
Yeah.
remembered a bit of like book 1, but from then I was like, I don't remember anything
That's
else. So
amazing though,
it's
because
kind of brand new to
you
me.
really got to. That's amazing though, because you really got to then re-experience them completely. Like if I go back and read the Percy Jacksons, the Harry Potters, like I'm enjoying the read, but like I kind of know what's coming along, and
Yeah.
so there's always these like Instagram posts of if I could erase some books from my memory so I could reread them again, what would it be? And these obviously are at the top. So for you to get to have that experience, completely renewed, that's amazing. I'm a bit
Yeah,
envious.
it was very very cool. Just kind of recap it because I read it. I think I was on a coach to the airport, and it was like a 7-hour coach.
Wow.
So I managed to read it during the whole time.
That's
Um,
amazing.
but it was like all the magic in there, and I was like, I'm so excited now for season 3 of Percy Jackson to come out as well. It's kind of
Oh,
comparing a little bit.
I can't wait to see what they do with Nico.
Yeah,
Can't
I'm
wait to
very
see what they do with
excited.
him.
Brilliant. So, let's get on to the next question because we got a bit sidetracked,
Sure.
didn't we?
No, of
So
course.
love a good sidetrack. So how did
Yeah.
you deal with writer's block, or kind of did you have any like loss of motivation while writing? Because obviously I know you said it took about 10 years, didn't it? Did you just say?
Yeah, writing. I think the 10 years is also just more of like, again, building like, building. What's the word? I'm blanking out for a second. But building like a process to write. What's the?
Mm,
I'm blanking on the word. The discipline. We'll start
yeah.
again. Okay. It was learning how to be disciplined as a writer. A
Mm,
16-year-old definitely wasn't a disciplined writer and needed to, I wasn't even writing with like outlines or anything. I was just writing, just purely writing, jotting down the story.
mm,
And then as I got older, I, started to realize that I had something there. Also thankfully had some great writing mentors who were like, if you really, take this seriously, this could be something. So, in those moments, jotting down outlines, preparing structure, locking down the characters and their appearances, keeping track of everything. That kind of structure and discipline definitely helped establishing the story in the book to what it is today.
yeah.
In terms of dealing with writing blocks, I could say from my experience, it's a roller coaster. And in the beginning, it was extremely frustrated, and I was just in it. I was never demotivated from writing. It was just more of like, this is just absolute torture. Like all I want to do is continue writing, and there were chapters that I was just stuck on for weeks and months at a time.
Mm,
And so now I'm learning to kind of navigate it a bit more with ease and have a bit more patience with myself
yeah.
as I write the next book. But I would say, in terms of what I would do to try to remedy that, like again, go back to my outlines. Maybe do some more research. A big thing, as funny as it sounds, is take long hot showers. A lot of
Okay.
my great ideas come from long hot showers. Sometimes with
Nice.
music, some without. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'm playing some good film soundtracks, and just letting the steam and the brain interact and let the magic happen. And there are moments that I'm like an idea just pops in my head and I'm literally like running out, like dripping wet. Like I've probably broken like 3 or 4 phones as a
Oh
result of
wow.
all the water. Yeah, just like getting into the phone from that. So we try to get a bit better with that. But yeah, like if I have, really try to have those kinds of meditation sessions where it's just you and the steam, and can hopefully get these ideas, these self-baked ideas, a bit more cooked, a bit more baked, and hopefully solved bread.
Yeah. Wow, that's an awesome answer there. Very cool. I'm breaking lots of phones there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is very cool. I mean, I wouldn't imagine long hot showers would do anything, but clearly they do for you, which is awesome. Brilliant. And the next question is a little bit of a fun one. We've got kind of, I think, a few fun ones coming up here. So obviously, probably, imagine your book was being turned into a film. Is there like an ideal cast to have, like a dream cast, or yeah?
It's a tricky question because I love this question. Obviously, I've imagined what it would be like to have, a film or TV series adaptation.
Yeah.
I think especially with a lot of these series, like obviously they're redoing Harry Potter now, and they've had much success with the reboot of the Percy Jackson series. Is that with young adult characters and thus young adult actors,
Yeah.
it's hard to find. Sometimes you don't want to find the most established big name, I guess, child actors.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like I think they said they interviewed like 500 actors for the Harry Potter for the trio, and they've pulled out names that for most people, I guess, are just completely unknowns. But
Yeah.
I think there's something exciting about that like you haven't seen them in things before, and so they're gonna grow in your mind as similar to like Daniel, Rupert, and Emma, like they're Harry Potter, they're Hermione Granger, they're Ron Weasley, and you don't see them from anything else. A little different with the actor with Walker from Percy Jackson, where he was in a few things, but again, still not so many that it's hard to not envision him only as Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
So I would say in terms of the core characters of my book, of Barnaby, Miles, and Morgan, I don't have specific comps in mind because I would really love to, like I said, try and discover new young actors who just are ready to prove themselves and have sheer amazing talent and would just define themselves into these roles. One character though that I've thought it helps with describing him is in terms of who I want to cast would probably be Blackbeard. In the book, I kind of have fun thing where he's called Blackbeard also because of his physical appearance, and so I would love maybe like an Idris Elba to play him, giving him like this big hulking daunting physique. So that's definitely a casting that I've had in mind. But I think in general, I'm a big fan of finding unproven actors with just amazing talent, especially these young actors, and giving them a role to define their careers with. That's what that would be a dream if I ever got the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, that is actually pretty cool. I love the fact that you're kind of willing to give, I guess, undiscovered or like new actors a chance of that, because I think that's always like such a fun thing to kind of do, to introduce actors into the world, is to have like those kind of newer actors to maybe kind of just showcase their talent, and especially if they kind of look the part as well. It's just such a cool thing to do, and I know
absolutely. And I think also just again, it's not an issue because we have actors who have been in movies and movie stars who have been in an endless amount of movies, but sometimes when you've seen an actor too many times, when they play a role, it could be like, oh, it's just watching that guy in the movie, it's not necessarily watching that character. And so like you said, having these new actors being able to showcase their talents, play the roles, I feel like those watching the film or the series wouldn't be necessarily watching the actors, but watching the characters unfold and their stories unfold. And I think that there's something so special and magical in having that connection between the character and the actor being portrayed on screen.
Absolutely, and it kind of gives that fresh kind of perspective as well, I guess, for like the audience who might not know this actor, be like, oh, actually, they encompass maybe that character perfectly, and then maybe further down the line they might see them in something else and go, oh, I remember them from that, but kind of
exactly.
Yeah, I think that is really cool. Right, we're going to kind of go, I guess, a little bit back to the book, problem is still in the book, aren't we? So in the book, Barnaby fences, which is, I think, a very cool thing. So, like, do you fence, or do you have, like, a hobby that's kind of similar to that? And, like, why did you include fencing? Because I think it's just very cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much, first of all, for saying that. Yeah, so I actually I don't currently fence, but when I was in the fifth and sixth grade, I did some fencing in a local
Oh,
fencing club,
yeah.
and again, this is my mom said like, oh, there's I don't know if you know, but there's a local fencing club that they're starting, and again, this is like around the time I'm watching
Mm.
Pirates of the Caribbean movies for the
Yeah.
first time, and I'm like it's like what Barnaby says. It's literally it's like sword fighting as a sport. Like I get to swing a sword at people for
Yeah.
fun. Like why would I not do that? And it was like that. It was such an incredible experience, and it played a part in I wanted to give Barnaby some ability with the sword. Some I didn't want him to have to. I thought it would be cool that he comes into the school where people usually haven't used a sword before, as shown in the tryouts where people are like literally throwing swords in the air, like not knowing what
Yeah.
to do. And he comes in and just stuns everyone that he
Mm.
actually knows what he's doing. And I think that that was just a really cool moment. And also kind of gives him a bit of a jump start into the world itself, into the raids and facing off against the different foes that he comes across in the book. So I thought it was a great combination of, like you said, like this personal experience that I got to share that I think is very unique and very unique also to young adult genre,
Yeah.
and also just give Barnaby a bit more depth and a bit more skill that he's able to use to his advantage in the story.
That is awesome. I did not know you fenced, so that is very cool.
Yeah,
I was wondering. I was like, has he fenced before? Because obviously there is some terminology in there as well. I was like, this is really cool to read because you don't really see fencing.
yeah. I was also like, if I'm good, I also felt like, and it goes with whatever I try to do in the book. But it's like if I'm gonna describe something that is something that might be new to the readers, obviously a lot of the pirate history and that stuff, but especially with the fencing, like I want to know what I'm talking about. I don't
Yeah.
want to, especially with the pressure of writing a book. The last thing I would want is the reader to read it and be like, I'm not sure he's got it correct. And I was like, no, no, I want to walk someone through like what it would like to be in a fencing tournament. And
Yeah.
obviously a part of that was from my personal experience in terms of the equipment and what he wore, but also looking up the rules, looking up some of more of the specifics, the terminology, like you said, making sure that I had it on point so that, someone like yourself who's reading it is like, oh, this is so cool. This is things I didn't know about fencing. And who knows, maybe one day you'll pick up a sword and try it out yourself.
Maybe one day. It's very cool though. I was like, oh, fencing, because yeah, I love a good sword fight. So I mean, I don't fence. Wish I could.
Who doesn't? I mean, come on. That's also, I'm like, that's when I'm writing this book. I was like, you know, how come? As I'm writing this book, all I could think about is how come no one's done this. Like, that it was such a privilege to be able to bring the story forward, because I'm just like, how come no one has done a story for young adult novels with swashbuckling sword fights? Of course, Percy Jackson has incredible sword fights, but
Yeah.
there's something in like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies that everyone remembers one or two iconic sword fights from one of the films
Yeah.
that just lives with them forever. And I was like, I would love to capture this in a story one day.
Yeah. No, as a child watching Pirates, I was like enacting out the sword fights. There's videos of me
Exactly.
somewhere
Yeah.
on my phone
Yeah.
from a young child, me being a little obsessed with pirates. But yeah, no.
I got to channel that. I got to channel it into the fencing. I was like humming to myself like the theme from Hans Zimmer as I'm
Yeah.
like
I
fighting
can
like my
definitely
dueling my
vision that.
opponent, and I'm just like, the guy's like, what is he? Is he singing? Like what is going on here?
Yeah, that is absolutely awesome. Brilliant. So the next one is I thought kind of on the theme of you film music and stuff, because we've got pirates and we've got Percy Jackson and stuff. If your characters were like a piece of music, it could be a film music, classical music, pop music, whatever piece of music, what piece of music would they be?
Great question. I think I think I could say with confidence that the students from Riaz to Barnaby would all embrace the like 2000s punk rock genre. So like
Yeah.
anything from like My Chemical Romance to All American Rejects, Green Day, Blink
Nice.
182,
Yeah.
these songs about being a bit of an outcast, being a bit of a punk, being a bit of a scallywag. I think that this kind of music really gives off a similar vibe to the kind of kids who are at the school. So I imagine that if they had speakers at Lost Boys High, maybe look into that. But if they were, that's the kind of music I think that they would definitely be playing and listening to.
Yeah, that is awesome. I love that. I mean, I don't really listen to much punk rock, but I can definitely imagine those characters kind of with those kind of songs. Because I've heard of some of the bands, just not really listened to the music because I'm more classical
Yeah.
and film music, so it's my genre.
Yeah,
Really.
well, that's what I listen to when I write. When I write, it's mostly
Mm.
lo-fi beats and a lot of soundtracks, a lot of Harry
Yeah.
Potter soundtracks, a lot of Hans Zimmer, a lot of the greats. And then now and then, when I'm like really, I got to write some good dialogue, some good banter, I'll put on some Green Day, some All American Rejects, and just like
Nice.
start bobbing my head as I'm writing this back and forth between
Yeah.
Barnaby and Miles or Barnaby and Riaz, and yeah,
Yeah, that is awesome. I mean, I always have a playlist when I read. I usually kind of switch between like a dramatic fantasy playlist or film music or
yeah.
musicals or classical. It depends what I'm reading.
Do you ever come across a song that like you're listening to it and you remember the book you were reading at the time that you had gotten into that song?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really recall any off the top of my head, but there have been at least one or two where I've listened to that and gone, I remember when I was reading that book. But at the moment, at the same time, it's
Yeah,
like I use the same playlist for a few books as well, because it's just
yeah,
kind of noise distraction to kind of help me concentrate on the book.
yeah,
Because
for
otherwise, I'll have
sure.
noise going on outside, and I'll be like, "What's going on up there?" and then get completely distracted from my reading session. But yeah, listen to a lot of music over here. But that is very cool. Anyway, I know you said that obviously this book's part of a trilogy. So obviously you probably have book two on the way at some point. Is there any more projects apart from book two, or is it just book two you're focusing on right now?
Yeah, so I mean, book two is taking obviously a lot of my time in
Mm.
terms of my writing availability. We're currently between the 40 to 50% mark on the first official draft, and it's a
Nice.
very good draft.
Hmm.
It's not a rough draft by any sense. I think that it's closer to polished than it is to rough. I'm currently, it's one of those memes where you have a plan for a book and then the characters have their own plan.
Yeah.
So where I'm at now, and based on some of the things that happened, are not what I expected would happen when I first
Yeah.
started the book, which is great. It's like amazing ideas that come across. So I'm
Yeah.
currently like, basically, I had a first draft of an outline. I'm kind of working now on the second version of the outline before I continue I guess you can say the second half of the book, just so I can get it to like flow state and you know can get in another writing groove as quick as possible. Have this outline to really lean on. In terms of other projects, there is I would obviously love to also take a crack at like proper high fantasy, maybe
Hmm.
grim dark fantasy. I
Yeah.
have an idea for a high fantasy novel. I don't know if it would be standalone or a series. Right now, I'm kind of envisioning it as a standalone, but it's basically like your classic high fantasy novel meets the Count of Monte Cristo with a bit of Gladiator in
Ooh.
it.
Yes.
So maybe a bit also of John Wick, redemption arc action.
Yeah.
So it's the idea is still coming together and the world
Hmm.
is still coming together. And so I every now and then I sit on that outline and kind of just jot down as much as possible. And so my goal is, I don't know if it'll be between book two or three or after I finish the third book,
Hmm.
but definitely want to continue my writing journey and write more beyond Barnaby Stump.
Yeah.
Not that don't love what I'm writing now. I absolutely
Yeah.
do, and I think if you liked book one, like you have no idea what you're in store for when it comes to book two.
Oh, very
Everything is
excited.
going to be dialed up a notch. I mean, you get thrown right into it. The action is crazy. There are plot twists that even I, like writing it, have never just been like, oh my god, I can't believe that just happened. And
Yeah.
yeah, so more worlds, more action, more characters, more everything. I'm excited to turn up the stakes um, for book two, and obviously see what's ahead in my writing journey.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds like you've got some awesome projects on the way, and I'm very excited for book 2 now you said that. I love just being thrown straight into action. So that's one of my favourite things about reading a book, when it just starts straight off in that action and you're like hooked right from the beginning.
Amazing. That's great feedback. Amazing.
Yeah, brilliant. And my last question here, is there any advice to kind of aspiring authors? Because I know a lot of us, we have ideas and, we jot them down and then they just kind of never become anything. So, like, is there kind of any advice you'd have for kind of those aspiring authors out there?
Certainly. Number one is just start writing. Sometimes a lot of things I hear from people who have great ideas is they're kind of waiting for the right time to start writing. And I think that's that waiting stage is what causes these ideas to kind of lose the hype train that they've got going on in your mind. So if you have an idea, start jotting it down, whether it be an outline, whether it be an actual draft of the story, and let it go from there. I think writing with structure is always very important, whether that's just a simple Excel sheet to keep track of your characters, or a broader outline to help you flesh out your story. And lastly, for me, and this is something that's definitely helped me wrap up the last book, but also write a bit faster with this story, with the book 2, is tracking my writing progress. So that means, like, basically I have a Google sheet, and every time I write, I put in the dates, I put in the hours I wrote, I put in the word count. What that does for me is it kind of is a nice self-reflection of like what I've accomplished so far. So if there's a day where I feel like, I haven't really been, I feel like maybe I'm not writing enough, I could look back and be like, no, I've written quite a lot this month and I should feel good about it. But also it kind of challenges me to, keep filling up that sheet, keep adding more dates, keep adding more words, and give myself a little bit of like internal competition to try and write as much as I can.
Yeah, I love that. With that sheet, I should probably try that. Because I have so many ideas, and I write them down. When I do a lot of kind of handwriting rather than on my computer at the moment. Because I'll be at work, I'll be like, I'll just write a little something, and then it turns into like 3 sheets of A5 paper. But
I would even say there's like plenty of like apps for like notes and like a digital post-it notes.
Yeah.
Like, I think one is called Google Keep. I would definitely, if you feel like, sometimes the physical notes get lost, I would recommend trying one of these apps. You have an idea, jot it down, 3 pages, physical paper there is absolutely nothing. And so it might be a little easier to come back to. Again, now you're home, you got your computer, you can open up the app on your desktop, you can copy paste what you were writing before and, flesh it out even further. And instead of having to feel like you have to like rewrite it from pencil to computer, which can seem a bit cumbersome. So definitely would recommend digitizing that. But yeah, absolutely. Like, my advice is just go for it. Just find the time to write. And even if it doesn't become a full published story, like, every bit of what you write is just more practice, more honing your craft. And it's just a beautiful mental exercise too, to let your imagination flow and just have fun with it.
Brilliant. So thank you very much for those questions.
Of course. This was such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Hi, it's Magically Unofficial here. Thank you so much for watching this interview. I hope you find a new indie author via watching my videos, and discover new indie authors as well. To get notifications for when my next indie author interviews will be out, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that little bell so you get notified when my next interview is out. I hope you have a fabulous day, and I hope you find a new favourite indie author to read. Bye!